Hello. Hold on. Now you're muted for me. Hold on. Hi, everybody. Welcome back to the Hamster Studio. I'm here with Chris, and I'm trying to hear him again. This was working just seconds ago. And then Discord betrayed me.
The call.
There he
What?
is. Chris, you're back. You're back. It's
Yeah,
all me.
back.
It's not you. It's 100% operator error. And today, the operator is me. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. We're painting some Blackrot trees. And I'm really excited because Chris is painting miniatures as well tonight. He's been getting into it.
I've been trying. You've probably seen a little bit of my progress on the Discord. It's not great. I did penguins.
More penguins. Awesome.
Oh, these are the same penguins.
Okay.
I tried to do a different kind of penguin for each one.
Complete with ice basing.
Yeah. Tonight, though, the basing is the best part. The basing is the only thing I feel confident in, honestly, when it comes to minis.
Yeah.
Like the penguin's whatever. But
it reads as a penguin.
The basing, it does look like a penguin. However, I think a large majority of that is probably the sculpt being sculpted like a penguin. I'm not doing penguins tonight, though, even though I do have a dire penguin. I'm not sure what I want to do with the dire penguin yet, so I don't know. But I'm gonna try to take a stab at. I have like a bunch of gnomes, a gnome army.
That's right.
Yeah.
Those look cool.
Yeah. Are there penguins in Wildlands? Oh shoot, we hadn't revealed that yet.
Oh, beans!
Oh.
Spoilers! Dire penguins!
Oh, dude, dire penguins, like fellborn penguins.
Yes, I am down.
Fey touch penguin. Maybe that's what I'll do with my dire penguin. Actually, maybe I'll try to make the dire penguin a fellborn penguin. That could be fun.
I'm in. Let's do it. Where penguins? Yeah, exactly.
They're right here.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. It's been a day. It's been a week. It's been 2 weeks actually.
It's been a months.
It's been 13 days.
Yeah.
That's right. We were doing this before it launched. Yeah. Yeah.
But here
You're painting
we're painting some Blackrot. So I've got my tree here, and my first step on this guy. So on the ruins, no mixing. Blackrot tree, there's a lot more mixing, but you're gonna paint fewer Blackrot trees. Blackrot obviously doesn't have to be literally black, but it's gonna be somewhat black, and that's tough because to make black read realistically, a lot of it is not black. So I'm going to try to mix kind of a blue-gray and do increasingly brighter sort of dry brushes on the texture to make it look dark and creepy and perhaps black, but mostly actually a blue-gray.
So primed, yeah.
This is primed black, so these are prototypes. Dwarvenite you typically don't have to prime, but this is a Polystone prototype, so I do typically prime these. This is just regular, well, it's Vallejo acrylic polyurethane primer. You could do a spray can or something if you had a material like this, but Dwarvenite typically takes paint pretty well, so you can skip that step. But yeah, so I got base gray. This is all dry in here, so don't get confused by that, but I'm just starting with base gray and taking just a little bit of blue. Same as the ruin scheme.
Any reason for not using a wet palette? I think you talked about this in the last stream, but
yeah, especially for the techniques we use with like dry brushing and stuff, I don't want it super wet. And because I'm only doing one model today, I don't need it to stay super wet for a long period of time. So for the technique I'm using, I actually want it to be a little bit thicker, and these are high flow paints too, so they're already pretty flowy, and to add more moisture would actually make it a little more difficult sometimes for what we're doing. But I do like the wet palette a lot, especially for miniatures, doing glazing and that kind of thing.
Excellent. It's one frightening looking tree. Yeah. Oh, hey, that's Eddie. Hey, Eddie, how you doing?
Yeah, look at
Eddie
that scary guy.
He's a guy I play with in a game.
Oh, awesome! Welcome.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is the spookiest of the trees, I'd say.
I mean, the slink root is pretty creepy.
That is true.
Like-
There's a number of
like-
them.
Like the slink root, the slink root is like colored like a regular tree, but it's also a tree that's gonna come after you. You
Right.
know? That's a little terrifying. Let's see who else is here. Sly Flourish is here. Rapid Burner's here, of course. Will it be cast in Black Dwarvenite or Dungeon Gray?
Yeah, it's going to be Dungeon Gray. Typically, with my prototypes, if I have to prime, I just do black because it's sort of dark and close. It's not going to be exact. A lot of the prototypes we do have a Dungeon Gray mix, but when I'm at home here, I often just paint them black because usually it doesn't change the effect too much. But they will be Dungeon Gray.
Excellent.
They will be the regular old casting color. So I basically started with adding a little bit of light gray to blue, and we're basically going to keep doing lighter and lighter until we're adding a little bit of blue to gray for the midtone, and then possibly a little bit of stone edge or white. But for this, especially when we're basing over black or even Dungeon Gray, a dark color, you're going to want to go a little bit lighter because this is really transparent, and so it's going to appear a little bit darker than it does on the palette. So now we're doing sort of our faux dry brush because we are graced with a very thick, deep texture. So we can get away with more wet paint on the dry brush as opposed to just really wiping it off. And this will give us coverage in fewer layers, which is a big help when you're painting a lot of pieces like you do when you have a whole terrain set. So that's what I'm going to do here is basically go through the motions of the dry brush, but I'm not afraid to leave a little bit more wet paint on the brush.
Are there any other pieces that will actually use similar paints or similar steps to the Blackrot that you might be interested in batching with the Blackrot if you're doing unpainted? Or is it kind of
a
its own thing?
lot of the trees, like the accent pieces, the Sarness, the Fey tree, they kind of have their own deal. They're going to be the centerpieces or the accents that really stick out. So I didn't necessarily they're purposefully deviate from the Wildlands scheme, like the broad Dreadhollow scheme and Swamp scheme and all that.
You want them to pop out.
Yeah, but
That makes sense.
with some colors do incorporate some of those colors so that it is a little bit cohesive. So you'll find some of the same colors, like base wood is used heavily in forest, and we kind of desaturate that to use on this tree. Especially on, we're going to do an effect that's sort of the dead tips of each branch that aren't consumed by the Blackrot. There's still a wood color, and so that is the same color as a lot of the Dreadhollow, but just desaturated, a little more dead looking.
Just the way that it's popping already is like fantastic.
Yeah, and that's the sculpt is helping me a lot. The texture is the perfect depth.
Well, that's one of the things you said when you were teaching me painting in the first place. Is you were saying that like a lot of the times, if you just work, if something is sculpted well, if you just work with the sculpt, you actually don't have to do that much.
Yeah, just like make the shapes read that are already there, and it's gonna look cool because the sculpt is cool, you know.
Yeah.
So this step is really just making sure that, because if it was black, you wouldn't hardly be able to see the texture. So this whole step is just to make sure we see the texture, and it still looks dark and creepy.
Is it really the Goobs? And if so, is Goobertown a known painter?
Is
I don't
Goobertown
know
here?
Yeah, Goobertown's here apparently. I don't know the scene at all, so I don't.
It'd be insane if he was.
Yeah, Goobertown's here.
That's awesome. I am still I want to send him some stuff. I'm still working
yeah?
on painting it for Wildlands specifically, but
Wait, you're painting it before you send it to him?
Yeah, just because it's a little last minute.
That's fair.
But in the future, we're 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 in talks. We're in talks. That's all I'll say. It's just
I
mostly
really
because
know.
it's all I know. But
I really know nothing about that entire world. I'm trying to get into it. I'm getting into trying to look for chances to learn painting because I do enjoy it.
it's just a whole lot of practice, learning your materials and building a little bit of muscle memory, and really you're set at that point.
Yeah. I think the main thing is just trying to like, for me, it's just like I just have to accept that I'm not going to be happy with it for a while, and let
Yes.
that be okay. Which is just a general life lesson. I think I need to, I need to embrace.
Right. And just like all things in life, it's just to get better miniature painting, you just got to paint minis. Like that's really the long and the short of it.
Yeah.
But also like setting the expectations for a project. Like if you're painting stuff for your game or if you're painting a large amount of terrain like this, you got to set the bar like kind of in an efficient point, right? Where you want it to get it to a point where you're happy with it in bulk and know that you're looking at it up close as an individual piece here, but you're going to see it on a table with a bunch of other pieces.
That's fair.
So let yourself like make some mistakes and let go of some of the fiddly things because in the long run you're going to come back tomorrow and not even notice it.
I'm trying to figure out if this is this guy's bare chest or if he's some kind of got some kind of cloth there. I can't tell if those are pecs or just ruffles in a. I think he's got a tunic on. All right.
Yeah, I've had a lot of especially when there's no paint on them at all. Sometimes it's hard to tell what the heck is even going on some models.
Yeah. It's easier when it's a thing that like I've like if it's like a Hero Forge mini or something that I've like designed, so I've seen
Right, right.
like painted. But I'm just painting Reaper stuff, so I had no idea what it was gonna even look like entirely until I got here. All right. That's all for him. What's happening here? Uber 10 hobbies. For a long time, I thought I'd never paint. Little did I know I'd officially have 4 minis under my belt at this point.
Nice.
Or it's a tunic with built-in pecs. Hey Finley, how you doing?
What's up, Finley?
Miniac, Goobertown, Vince Venturella, Cujo Painting are great channels to start with.
Oh my god, yes. Watch all of them. Watch everything that they make. I love those channels.
And Angel, either Giraldez or Uraldez.
Oh, yes, yes. He's very great too.
I've seen some. I've started following like a couple like Instagram accounts, but a lot of times they just make me feel inferior. If I'm being honest, a lot of people who like post like just really really cool. I have a friend who does like wargame miniature like custom commissions and paint
Oh,
jobs.
nice.
And I see the stuff that he posts, and it's outrageous. The stuff that he manages to make.
Yeah.
Um,
There's some insane
then-
painters out there.
and then seeing the stuff that you do and all that. It's
Okay, well, if it makes you feel any better, I also follow a bunch of Instagram accounts and I feel inferior also, so.
oh, I know you feel awful about your paint jobs, and I don't get it. Like genuinely, if you guys remember, so way back when you were painting, I keep wanting to call him the Corpus Christi, but it's not that. It's a
Corvus Cabal.
Corvus Cabal.
The
It's not
Warhammer Warcry, yeah.
Yeah, I remember doing a stream where you were painting that, and you had one as like a sample, and we thought something was like wrong. We thought like you'd gotten like terrible news or something because you got like really quiet leading up to the stream, and then you go in there and we're like, you show this like beautiful like teal and orange, like mini that you've done, and you're getting like the rest of them like ready for the stream, and you were just stressed that the paint job looked bad. It was like, no, this is like really really impressive.
It was an emotional day. I was feeling the stream pressure. I was like, oh no. Everyone's gonna see.
It's like another layer on top of like what you normally get for doing, because you know normally you're painting stuff for people to buy and everything, so you have to impress them in that front. Then when you're doing it in front of people, I imagine it's another layer entirely.
Yeah, like normally, that was like, I did those the most last minute as far as like kind of coming up with a scheme. So I was like, is this actually gonna work?
It was gorgeous. I loved it. That's my favorite warband that I've seen from you because the color scheme is so unusual.
Oh, awesome.
And it's like very striking. Um,
Well, I appreciate that. I appreciate that because uh, I think, like, especially starting with that, all my armies now are just like super. They're like army. They're zoomed out to army concept. Like, I'm not thinking about the individual like super fine blends and stuff. I'm just like, how do I make this super striking when you're looking at the whole army at once?
yeah.
And that's been a lot of fun. Like, I want to do these. For those who are familiar with 40K, I want to do these cyberpunk Sisters of Battle. And they're gonna have. I got a bunch of Necromunda heads with like mohawks and stuff. I'm looking forward to that.
I've still got your source book I need to read.
Oh, the 40K book, yeah. Tons
So
of
far,
lore in there.
So far, all I've done is I've like flipped through it and looked at the pictures of cool armies.
Yes,
And,
that's
like, and,
that's
like, yeah.
that's the main thing for those.
Which one of these do I like the most?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, when I was first getting into it as a kid, my cousins had the Warhammer Fantasy rulebook. And so when we would all go over to Grandma's house for every holiday, I'd say, "Did you bring the book?" Just so I could look at the same pictures of armies over and over again. I just loved it.
They're cool paint schemes.
Yeah.
I like.
And when you see them in like en masse, like just these huge, giant armies, like 2 fully painted armies on a fully terrain board, it's just nothing cooler.
Yeah. And you're right about like having like color schemes that are distinct enough that you can immediately tell who's what from a distance just by the color scheme.
Yeah.
Like that was one of the things that was really helpful about the wargaming tournament last night. Was like the three armies were like wildly different. Super easy to tell from a glance who was where.
Yeah, those turned out well. I like those.
Sam Lenz is amazing. His skin tones video helped me immensely. I'm actually more comfortable with skin than I am with clothing and metal right now. I have some BattleTech stuff coming, and I'm very excited for that. Because I want to... I've seen stuff, especially stuff that you've posted in the Discord, Rabbit. I think you and Kraid have posted a lot of stuff that has like a lot of like brushed metal effects on it, and I want to learn how to do that stuff. That looks really cool to me. Oh, sorry.
Well, I was just gonna say I had an evening in quarantine where I said, you know what, I'm gonna buy a T-shirt from Sam Lenz, and it has this cool illustration that he did on it, the ferryman of this like reaper in a boat going across the body of water.
Do you normally pre-plan your paint jobs, or do you go with the flow with what feels right?
I find I have to have some kind of a vision in my head. Like, if I haven't visualized every part of the model somewhat, as in its place within the whole scheme, I sort of start to get lost. But if I visualize it first, it still makes adjusting and changing easier, because it's like tinkering with a watch, right? Like, if I'm just doing this amorphous thing and I'm going with the flow entirely, I start to get a little lost. But if I know, oh, this part of the scheme, I wanted it to serve this function, but it's not doing what I want it to, so I'll change it for that. Then I know how to change it. So I'm still going with the flow, and I'm still being flexible, but I need to look at it and have at least a complete version of it in my head before I start, usually.
Wargame last night was so much fun. Yeah, the wargame thing was. I think we were both really stressed about it going into it.
A little bit. It was a lot. Chris said it best. It was more ambitious than it was intelligent. That about sums it up. I think it was that was a big thing.
Well, the wargaming thing in particular is scary because it's not just that like I have less experience with wargaming, but it's also there's a much different focus on wargames and like what you're looking at than there is with RPGs or with live play stuff, you know.
Yeah.
So, in terms of streaming wargaming in a way that's still entertaining and fun, like I feel like there's not as many examples to look at. You know, most of it's pre-recorded stuff that's been edited down, and they've had time to get in and get the right shots.
Right.
But like, to produce it live, just it feels like it needs so many resources and so many cameras with so many zoom lenses
Yeah.
and so many operators, and we're in a pandemic, and just figuring out how to pace all of that out in a way that's still entertaining when it's live is difficult. But yeah, but then it just came back to the thing of like I have to like let it, like with yesterday, it was like I have to like let it be okay that it's not perfect right now,
Right,
because
right,
we want to do a lot of wargame stuff. We've talked about like we've got these ideas for like these crazy wargaming shows we want to do,
right.
and we've got to start somewhere, you know?
Yeah, at a certain point, we just got to make the mistakes and fix them.
Yeah.
And like I noticed too, I walked in there, I was like, this is a lot of stuff. It's a lot of cameras, a lot of.
We were running 5 cameras,
Oh man.
and even then, like that was not ideal. I still I had a 6th on standby, but then it was a thing of like how do we operate this, and then how do we also account for the people being around the table, and then the positioning of the lights and everything. What kind of primer do you guys use? We use Vallejo, right?
I mean, we use a number of things. When I'm at home, I use Vallejo usually, but I'll even use a spray can from a hardware store for prototypes. Um, you don't need something much fancier than that, honestly. Especially the sort of consumer level resin castings that we have a lot of, and that kind of stuff. Like you don't need something super fancy.
Yeah. Um. Oh. Oh. Okay, that's fine. It was closed. Um. Everyone pronounces Vallejo differently. Wait, is it not pronounced Vallejo?
That's how I say it.
It's like Vallejo, California, right? Like that's the thing. It's.
I mean, they're located in Spain, right? Like maybe they pronounce it differently, but I don't know.
There is a Vallejo, California, though, right?
Spanish. I think so.
Oh, Vallejo.
Oh, Vallejo. Yeah, right. That would be
That
it, right?
makes sense,
Yeah.
actually. That makes a lot of sense. Vallejo makes a lot of sense. Get a snake camera so you can bring it up to the table. Get model eye view. That'd be nice.
A snake camera. That'd be cool.
I think ideally, what I'd really like to get is an ATEM.
Yeah.
But I don't know if that's in our budget for now. There's a lot I would like to do. God knows, there's so many things I would like to do, and then it just becomes a time and a money thing.
Yeah, but like it's nice to have these under our belt, so if the budget comes around, we're like, well, look, this one went awesome, and it would be even better. You know, because people watched it and liked it, so.
I heard someone say Valley Ho once. An ATEM switcher? Yeah, an ATEM switcher. Like, genuinely, if we had... But then we would also need to get more cameras to make having that ATEM worth it, instead of using webcams to supplement. Because right now we're using webcams to supplement a lot of stuff. And... man, yeah, if I won the lottery...
I feel that. Honestly, I just buy more miniatures, but that's my own problem.
I put like 70% of it away for taxes.
Yeah, right.
Well, Portillo's doesn't use the Y for the double L. Wait, so it's Portillo's? Okay, but is that Spanish? There's got to be some reason for it. If I won the lottery, I'd buy a bigger house so I had more room for Dwarven Forge and minis. I hear you there. I feel like I missed something. That's the primer. Does anyone know how durable a home paint job compares to factory paint in terms of durability? Probably depends on what you use, right? Like, it'd be more about the paint and the miniature itself than the paint job, right? In terms of how durable it is. Oh, also, the thing that you're painting that you're supposed to be telling people about. I think I lost you. Oh, well. I don't hear you anymore.
Hello.
Okay, I'm muted. There we go.
I
can hear you there. Yeah, we should also talk about this Blackrot trick.
I was muted for a second. Yeah, I was fiddling with the exposure because I want to make sure the texture... This is where it wants to be, but I don't like that as much. Anyway, I'm basically just mixing blue and gray. I threw in a little bit of Stone Edge dry brush. Basically just until I like how the texture reads. I still want it to be dark and creepy, but I want you to be able to see the lovely sculpting. So I think that's pretty close. We'll probably move on.
That already looks like I'd personally be happy putting that on the table.
Yeah, like it's just that's kind of the idea with these pieces is this is sort of the main color, right? And so this is the color that I want to stick out from the schemes, the Dread Hollow, the swamp, that kind of thing, all the greens and earthy tones. So we throw a little blue in there. It's a little cooler, but still gray and creepy. And that's kind of its main vibe, is that color. And that's what pops. And pretty fast, which is something I like about this model. You know, we're chatting and everything, but you can knock these out pretty quickly.
Yeah, this does not seem like it's going to be a very long job for you.
Yeah. Which honestly isn't bad, because I'll let you in on a secret, guys. I got to do some more painting after this of some awesome stuff that's going to be revealed later. So I can't say much more than that. But you better you don't even know. You don't even know.
Is it the thing that we got in yesterday?
Or
the day before?
Yes.
Oh, I'm real excited. I didn't know you were painting that one.
Oh yeah.
Oh, okay.
And you guys don't get to know nothing yet.
Well, you'll probably know
We're
that.
torturing them.
I'm very excited. No, oh, I'm so excited. No, you realize how badly when I'm not even gonna say who sculpted it because I don't want to give it away. But when the final sculpt got posted in the Slack, and I just, yeah, no, I'm very excited.
Yep.
Oh man.
Yeah, Beans sort of. That's the title of the stream, is Beans sort of.
Sort of. Probably have about 10K minis to paint. Not 40K.
Okay.
I'm sorry. We just need Stefan in chat to spill the beans. Stefan doesn't know about this. Stefan doesn't know about this piece. Stefan doesn't know about anything you guys don't know about.
That is true.
Yes. Because we don't want those beans to get spilled.
I am looking at my... Here's a tip for you guys. Anytime you paint something, write it down, especially when you don't want to. Just make yourself write it down and spend 3 minutes doing it, because it will save your life down the road. And you think you're going to remember, you won't. You won't. I always think I'll remember. This is how it goes. I finish a scheme, I've spent so much time on it, I'm happy with it, I'm like, all right, oh, I got to write it down. Oh, no. I want to go get something to eat or something. I have to force myself, because a week later I will forget. So I'm looking at my doc here.
Let's see.
Just double checking.
I'm trying to imagine, like... It's funny how much you can just do with dry brushing. On
Yeah.
A lot of these pieces.
Oh, yeah. Especially our terrain, yeah. That's, like, the main thing. There's so much texture that you can just dry brush it fast and it'll look cool.
I almost never do dry brushing. I feel like I should.
Especially to start, it's, like, really low precision, but, high contrast effects.
Yeah. So what'd you do with the rest of your day?
Today,
Outside of lose your air conditioning.
I did lose my air conditioning, yes. I've mostly been painting wildly. A couple things that I'm excited for you guys to see. I did suddenly lose my air conditioner because apparently it was leaking down the side of the building and causing a lot of problems. And that was about an hour before the stream. So I was frantically trying to get that figured out. But here we are. So I mostly, after the Wargame stream last night, I mostly slept, painted, panicked, and streamed.
I passed out for like a solid 10 hours.
Mm-hmm.
I realized like I'd done like 50 hours in the last 4 days.
Oh my god!
I was like, I need to
take a day. Everyone, tell Chris to take a day.
I did for the most part. Today,
Okay.
Today I checked the Discord and forums a bit, but I didn't go into the office. I stayed here for the most part. I did walk a half hour to my girlfriend's
nice
apartment to give her present though, because it's her birthday.
Oh, happy birthday! Nice.
So I did that, and then we went to Dunkin' Donuts real quick, and that was really all I did today outside of lay down and hang out on the Discord and stuff.
Love it.
So I took today a little bit easy.
Good. Yeah, I can't really talk. I haven't taken a day off in like 2 weeks, but like fully off.
I haven't taken a day off in 2 months.
That 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 is true. And every time I think I get a chance to, something comes up. But
It's the yeah. I think the main problem. So like one of the best benefits that I've noticed of most people working here is that you're not like most people that work here are not okay with like leaving their job undone,
that is
which is
true.
great because it means things get done. However, that means that we also tend to be pretty bad at realizing when we need to draw the line and just say like this can get done later. I need to
Well,
take care of myself.
everybody likes what they're doing, so like we want to do it, and we're gonna put in extra time. But so like the person you need to make boundaries with is like yourself. Like you have to be like, no, look, I know you dig this, but you gotta call it.
Yeah. How the paint work on the WizKids stuff? I don't.
Picorni paints. Um, it's gonna work very similarly to a lot of the other acrylic hobby paints. It's going to be closer to something like Reaper paints because there's a lot of medium in it. They're high flow, so they're really flowy, obviously. So they're gonna behave closer to that. They're a little heavier body just because they're art acrylics, like you find at the art store. But I'd put them in the range of a Reaper. If someone can confirm or deny if they have both, but it'll stick. It'll stick. You just got to get used to how it behaves, just like any other paint brand.
I've never done any Reaper, or I've never done any WizKids. I've only done Reaper, honestly. I've only done Reaper and a little bit of Dwarvenforge, but I haven't. I'm granted I haven't done much painting at all, but yeah, I've never touched WizKids.
I do like that they make minis really accessible because they're pretty cheap and they look cool. The pre-primed thing I don't get. I just it yeah, they come pre-primed and sometimes it gunks up the detail, and I would just rather prime, like obviously I have experience, so I would rather prime it myself, but even if I was new, I feel like it would look better if people would just prime it themselves. But I guess the idea is this is ready to paint immediately, including primer. Like just get your paint set out and you're good to go. Maybe that's probably what it is.
I think the pre-primed is good for beginners, which makes sense because that is what WizKids is trying to hit for the most part, right? They're
Yeah,
trying to be the entry level option for a lot of people.
absolutely. It's just a shame when it does to some of the detail, but also the plastic sometimes comes out. I mean, even our castings come out a little goofy sometimes, so sometimes there's some weird blemishes in them. But for the price, especially, and to start with, they are really cool. We have a bunch of them in the office. The Descent into Doom video on the YouTube, the live play Dungeon of Doom, is all WizKids minis.
Oh, I had no idea.
Yeah.
No,
Or the players are, not all. Like, I'm sure there's a bunch of Dormforge minis that they use, but the player minis are WizKids.
wait, we got the players from WizKids.
The player minis. I was like, wait. Actually, that one of the girls in that is in my play group now.
Logan, yeah,
Yeah, Logan.
yeah, yeah, because you know Kelsey, and
Yeah.
you're in that circle. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that
I
game's
have
been going for a
still
while.
I have still never actually met Logan.
I hadn't
Despite,
until we started playing D&D. I never saw her in the office when they did Descent into Doom.
yeah, despite like everybody in my circle knowing and being friends with Logan, we've never been in the same place at the same time.
Yeah, Chris is part of that group of like right when I moved here, like our mutual friend introduced me to pretty much everybody I know. And
Yeah,
that's also why a bunch of us have come to work at Dwarvenforge too, because it's the same same group.
that was the Rainbow Connection. Yeah.
So what I did on some of the fringes of the bark that are sort of rotting but yet to be completely consumed. This is again that color that sort of makes it more cohesive with Dread Hollow and the like. We throw some base wood in there, but we just desaturated it with a little bit of a Stonehenge to get it. This is base wood just out of the bottle here, and we're just gonna tone it down. I threw in some of the Stone Edge highlight, just an ivory, general ivory, a little bit of gray mixed in to darken it down and still desaturate it more to get this icky brown. And this is honestly pretty much it for the main body of it. Now we're just doing the little bits and bobs.
I get the pre-printed.
So
Have you seen the color 3D printed things from Hero Forge? Yes, actually.
I haven't
Um,
seen the pre-colored ones, so they'll come up well.
yeah, Nate unboxed them, I think a week or two before the Kickstarter started.
Oh, really
We
nice.
actually, yeah, those live games that we were doing in the World of Dwarven Forge,
Mm-hmm.
that we're gonna go back to doing after the Kickstarter.
Nice.
Um, those characters that we made for those games, we Hero Forge made us minis with all of them, so we got to play with their color with their color tools. It's a really easy tool. Like
Yeah.
it's incredibly flexible. It's incredibly intuitive. Um, like it doesn't come out like as detailed as if you had somebody like Hamster like hand paint it,
Yeah.
but it's very good. Uh, Mostly when you get into like the small details is where I think it's uh helpful. Like, cause I can't do eyes to save my life. So just being able to like say what I want the eyes to look like and have it happen, um, is nice.
I get that painting eyes is like trying to cut the right wire on a bomb or something.
Yeah, I think the problem is that because of how minute it is, I start freaking out, and so then I just end up my hands start shaking more than it probably normally would.
Even something like the dots, the yellow dots on the sorrow nest, I used the end of a pencil. I didn't even use a brush.
That's really smart, actually.
And it
Using
was
something other than a brush.
and it was mechanical, so I could just like snap it off if I want another color and do a new color.
Oh man.
I will say, I was poking around on the Eldritch Foundry miniature creator too, and that was pretty cool. I was doing like some of the custom posing where you can just like pull the
They've got a
digital
very,
sculpt apart.
they've got a very good creation tool.
Yeah.
Um, I think the one thing I generally haven't been happy with from any mini company yet is the weapons.
Oh yeah, like the medals and stuff.
Not the medals so much as a lot of the times I just feel like the weapons don't look uh either sized appropriately or they don't quite look as I just don't buy them as much as the rest of the mini.
For
Like
sure.
there's a lot of places that I think do the clothing really really well and armor and stuff like that. But then you get to the weapon and I feel like the weapon just seems and I don't know if that's just because of how detailed those things are and how small they usually are compared to the rest of the mini. Um,
Right.
but the weapon tends to always just feel kind of weirdly simplified to me. I don't know.
Yeah,
Don't
I
do
get
eyes,
that.
keep them deep shaded. I've heard that.
That is
Makes
the
me.
way to go, especially on game. Like if you're doing a large squad of game models, just
I ended up. I ended
shade
up
them.
doing that with my first mini. I think you actually suggested it at one point.
Yeah.
So I was just like, I don't think I can do this. It's like, well, he's got these heavy set brows. Just go ahead and just make his eyes. Just go ahead and just like make his eyes like a dark paint.
Yeah, that's the quick and easy way. And a lot of times after I do eyes, I wish I had just done that.
Ah, that looks good. The fact that it's still brown on the tips too.
Yeah. Yeah, so here I'm starting to do the moss, and like part of the reason I chose these colors is because they are in Dread Hollow. Like the moss in Dread Hollow is moss green, obviously, right here, and so I'm using the same color, add a little bit of ivory, add a little bit of gray to get it muddier and ickier, but it's gonna be within the same realm, so it's gonna fit but be distinct.
Huh. So there are like those. So the in the biome so that you can believe that it's all the same place, but it still just has like colors that make it pop out from the rest.
Yeah, like the first version of the Shimmer Fronds looked like a Dr. Seuss thing. Like it was a little too the colors. There wasn't the color or detail that like kind of made it look planty and made it look like it belonged in the forest. Uh,
Oh,
yeah.
this came up earlier today actually. You still have that other paint scheme you did for the Howling Devil?
The other paint scheme for the Howling Devil.
I remember
From Hellscape?
at one point you had two. Yeah, from Hellscape. You had the purple one that we ended up going with, and you had one that I think was more red.
Oh, I did have a red one. I did have a red one. I don't
So
know
you
where
have
it
that?
is though. You know what? I think what would have ended up happening is when the purple was confirmed, I painted over it.
Oh, man.
Why? Does someone want it?
I just somebody posted their Howling Devil in the Discord today, and it made me think about that, and I was like, I wonder what happened to that. Like, because the alternate paint schemes are always like a cool thing, especially when it comes to minis. Because
Yeah,
you can customize them. Um,
I did like the red too, but sometimes what happens, especially with like miniatures and smaller things like that, is we only have so many prototypes, and so we got to use them all. So sometimes I have to paint over old schemes.
the swamp biome would be great to use as a Dagobah theme for Star Wars. That's so back when we thought the Kickstarter was happening earlier than it ended up happening. Uh, I suggested that on May 4th we would do like a Dagobah scene.
Nice.
But we ended up delaying the Kickstarter, so by that time it was like, yeah, we can't show this stuff yet. Because I thought that would have been a fun social thing to do, would just be to make a swamp, put an X-wing in it.
Yeah, that'd be super fun. I freaking have X-Wing stuff right somewhere among my stuff.
Have you played the X-wing war game?
I've played it a little bit, and it's a lot of fun. I never got like super into it, mostly because of time to get games in. But it's really cool. I mean, it's like fast paced and just maneuvering ships and stuff is really fun. And the strategy of like designing your little band of ships is really cool. And obviously, just like being in the Star Wars world is always a blast, and like seeing familiar stuff, and like when flavorful things happen, like you blast some villain or something. It's really fun. I have the starter box for Legion too, which is like the ground battles, foot soldiers and the like and Jedi and stuff.
Is that the FFG?
Yes.
Okay.
Legion. I have the Vader and Luke starter set, so I got to get a little bit of a trial of the rules in for that. But the models are definitely fun.
I don't know if this plan I went with for these gnomes is gonna work.
What's going on over
I-
there?
Well, I decided that I wanted to make their main scheme green and yellow for their clothing and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And then I got to oops, I don't want that at all. But then I got to two of them and I realized, yeah, this guy's clearly got like a robe on, and so like I can make that stuff stand out more. But
Nice.
then the rest of these guys, this guy's so busy. I don't know how to actually get. I don't know like where the clothing starts really.
Well, to make it cohesive with the colors, you could just pick even a different accent to put it. Like maybe he has like neutral clothing underneath, but he has some kind of
Do something with his weapons or something.
yeah, like a scabbard or even a belt or leather armor or something.
That's a good point.
Oh, thanks, Rabbit. Yeah, I did these like grungy stormtroopers, like they've been in the trenches for a long time. They turned out really cool. Yeah, Kraid is a big Legion guy. Kraid freaking loves Legion. I want to do it more.
Oh, cool. Kraid's here. Who thought white was a good color for a uniform? Can't keep it clean.
Yeah.
That's a really good point. Well, I mean, I guess when most of your combat happens inside like controlled airlocked spaces, you don't have to worry a terrible amount about dirt.
Yeah, I suppose.
Maybe what I do is maybe I can use gold to kind of stand in for the yellow on some of his weapons.
Yes, I love that idea. That's a really good thing to start noticing is like how colors like translate to the actual colors on the color wheel like that. You know what I mean? Like,
You mean how yellow is similar to shiny yellow?
dude, that blew my mind. No, seriously, I'm saying this from personal experience. I was like, well, I want to do purple and yellow, and then, like, I was like, oh, the metal can be the yellow. It blew my mind.
That's fair.
Just like the placement of the placing colors that way, and the same way that like a leather is brown, but you can make it like a purple brown or like a green brown, and it can play the role of that.
I guess if I'm making like these gnomes, I could say this huge sword he has on his back is some kind of cobalty
Yeah.
sort of thing. It even looks like it could be made of stone, so maybe it is like a blue-green stone. And then story-wise, we'll make them like keen cobalt weapons or something, so it'll really suck if we end up fighting against them.
Love it.
I can do that. I think I'll try that. Post some pics from LVO a few years ago. That's rain was crazy. LVO.
Oh, nice. Yeah, that's a big wargame event. Convention, tournament.
Remember when... Man. Everything got canceled.
I know, man. We were going to be at Adepticon this year, guys. I was so excited.
We'd planned like this big wargame reveal and everything.
Yeah.
Man.
I was going to enter Golden Demon.
What's Golden Demon?
It's the big Warhammer Games Workshop painting contest that I've wanted to enter since I was like 10.
Oh wow.
It's like their big worldwide, and it hasn't been in the US in a decade, and this is going to be the first year that it was back.
That's really rough. I'm sorry.
It's all right. I'll do something for it next year. I'm going to do it. I got a blister of the first models that I ever painted and found like it on eBay, these like out of production old school models, and I'm going to paint one of those for it. Just as a bucket list.
What were you gonna enter? Golden Demon's crazy. Another mini painting resource to check out. Massive Voodoo.
Yeah, that's a blog, been around for a while. He does awesome stuff.
Have been to Bugman's bar and seen the championship two-handed sword.
Ooh.
This is all...
So the top prize from Golden Demon is a literal sword.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's like this giant thing they call the Slayer Sword.
There's just a bunch of people who just have swords because they're
yeah.
good at paint.
Yeah.
That makes me really happy, actually.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll finish this guy and see how I feel about it, and then I'll move to doing the steps on the other guys. Just establish what I want out of one of them.
Yeah, that's the move.
Let's just do like a regular brown for like his not under pants, but like his pants that are underneath his robe. Nothing wrong with having swords and bows.
Top, I was gonna enter a ghoul from Warhammer Fantasy, like a Vampire Count's ghoul. That was the first little blister of 3 ghouls on the old square bases I got when I was 10 from my cousins. One of them's holding a little bone over his head. One's has a stone, little rock to bash people with.
This brush is starting to get bad.
Yeah, I have, even right here, I have like 3 unopened packages of those yellow artificial brushes because they'll start to get curly pretty fast, but I just toss them and replace them most of the time.
I haven't gotten to the point where I've had to throw away a brush yet. I've only painted like 5 miniatures in my life. So being at the point where I'm watching it like split.
Yeah.
In real time.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
And if you're like me, what's going to happen is you're going to just be in denial and be like, I can still use this, and it's going to get more and more frustrating until you're cursing at it, and then you'll have to replace it.
I can save it.
Yeah, exactly. You'll be like, I can say it. It's still alive.
Still believe in it.
Duke says if I don't like my paint job, I just play without my glasses.
Oh man, that's a good point. It's a very good point. You know, you're in charge of you're in control of the way that you feel. You're in control of if things upset you or not.
That is true.
If you'll be happier just not seeing your paint job. brown. Uh, nah, okay, it's reading different from his skin. I was like, I don't want to make it just seem like he's just naked under here, but yeah, I think it's reading okay. It's just super sloppy. I'm just getting the. I'll clean it up later. Oh man.
That's the move. All my stuff starts sloppy, and I just hide it with other steps.
Do purple here, or not purple.
That's what we need in the Picorni colors is a dang purple.
There's no purple in Picorni?
There's no purple. I gotta fix it.
He can literally just call it Picorni purple.
There you go. That's true.
Like how do we not have a purple? It's literally like our most used accent color.
It took us a while just to even get like red and blue.
What did we have?
Like brown, green, and gray. It was all like the set specific. So it was like cavern. We had done caverns and dungeons, and then they made paints for it, for those schemes. And so we didn't have anything else.
That sounds like a real problem. See, I hear everybody talk about Bubbles Blue now.
That's one of my favorite colors. Yeah. The star of the ruins, I'd say.
Yeah. Man, the way that the runes pop is you did a stellar job on that.
Thanks, man. It took a few iterations, but when we got there, Mate and I both looked at each other and we're like, "Yup, that's it."
Give us purple hamster. I'm surprised he hasn't insisted on it. We just don't make the paints very often. I don't think. I think it's the main thing.
Yeah. Though I have talked to Aaron, and like if we were to make one, that's like the next on our list. That's like top priority.
Why don't you just mix the blue and the red?
Well, I do that, but when you're painting a bunch of pieces, that's a pain to like remix and remix and remix. Remix.
To me, that just sounds ungrateful. All that we need is a red, a blue, and a yellow, and then you should be fine from there.
Yeah, I just mix every single color ever.
Yeah.
Dang.
You just need those 3 basic building blocks, baby. Or I guess if we're talking about like printers, what, cyan, magenta, and yellow?
All right, you're welcome to. Here, please welcome our new studio painter, Chris. He's going to use only red, blue, and yellow. It's all he's allowed to use. You show him how it's done, Chris.
Hi. Yeah, I'm a...
Because I ain't going to do it.
I was brought on because of my experience with color theory. I've got a lot of theories about color.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
It's your show now. Here, let's get him full screen now.
Do you know that red is the color that you think looks the coolest when you're a kid, and then as you get older, you start realizing that actually blue is a superior color pretty much every way.
Yeah, that's a universal experience, I think.
You know what? So far, in my life, that's the only experience I've had. I was like super into red as a kid. I don't know if it's just because of Gryffindor or what, but I definitely had a predilection towards like crimson stuff. And
that was my favorite to paint when I was painting models as a kid. I'd hold I'd hold chapter of Space Marines called the Crimson Saints, my custom chapter that were obviously very red.
You think they'd be a little more clever about it? Like
so,
you've just given up all chance of doing any espionage, you know?
That's true, but they're not. They run in guns blazing and they all wear their flashy colors. For the Emperor. So the mushrooms are a mix of terracotta. I threw in a dab of deep lava, which is another one of my favorite colors. It's like a deep reddish brown. And I think that's it. Yeah, I only mixed those two. Just to get the sort of reddish brown that pops off of the blue-gray. And we have one more accent. There's these little like fungi that look like skeletal hands. And I did that really easy. I just used Stone Edge Dry Brush, our ivory. Just pick those out fast. We already have a lot of colors on here because they're all desaturated. But I mean, if you look at it, the holes are gonna have red. So we have like red, blue, green, and orange on this model. So it's actually like pretty colorful. These mushrooms look way brighter than they actually are. So this is a lot more desaturated. So it is gloomy and creepy, but not without color, which I like.
I really need to figure out what this weapon is exactly. Huh. I might just need to call it quits on this brush and change to another one.
You must accept it at a certain point.
It just keeps getting worse. It's the Nightmare Before Christmas tree. I didn't see it before, but I can't see it. I can't not see it now. It's the whole box of crayons.
Exactly.
Nightmare Before Christmas. That's got some good art direction, man.
I agree. I like that style.
I remember my first exposure to it was Kingdom Hearts.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and that was one of the coolest. That was one of like the most memorable parts of that game, honestly. When I was going into that world. I think it was in Kingdom Hearts 2. I don't think it was in the first one. But the problem is we're actually getting sucked into the painting. Slap that on there. Yeah, I'm gonna have to do that. I'm getting to the point where like he's got these little tiny ledges I need to hit somehow. Well, that got sloppy again. But the important thing is there's now paint on that place. It's the wrong paint, but I can make it the right paint later.
Yeah. Yeah, this is definitely the whole box of crayons. And the first iterations were quite a bit kind of darker. But you gotta remember, it's going to be sitting among a bunch of different colors, right? You're going to place it in a build with a bunch of forest or swamp or mountains. And so it starts to disappear a little bit if you don't add a few pops here and there. So it looks a little crazy on its own, but on the table, especially, top view, when you're looking down the table, it's going to do some work for you to have those colors. And we actually only got one last step on this tree. Just one of the grossest parts. Inside the tree, almost a blood-like, pussy.
Wait, there's red in there?
There's red in there. Not in here. I'm about to do it. On the tree, there's red though.
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
I'm saying like I didn't even realize there's like a red part to this.
Oh yeah. And our red is especially fluid, so you can actually just take this right out of the pot, because I like it to be a little transparent for this. But you're gonna place it in all of the kind of the deep recesses. So the idea that I was going for is kind of, they're almost like scabs and open wounds in the tree.
Ugh. That's gross.
But again, we have that black base and some of this gray around here, so you can go pretty heavy on it because it's transparent. So it's going to when it dries, it's not going to be as bright as like when you place it on there. I smudged it away a bit with my finger just to give a little gradient, a little scabby effect. And so like that, those little bits up there are kind of what we're going for on all these.
God, there's so much of that. But then it is like that. I mean, that can be a centerpiece of your build. So of course I
Right.
want that.
So this hollow part goes all the way through, so I'm kind of just hitting that perimeter so it frames it like that. But this is one of my favorite steps that really makes it gross and creepy to me. But it's one of the easiest because you're not mixing any colors and you're just kind of letting the fluidity of the paint do a lot of the work for you. So this is just kind of the victory lap here. One last pass on everything and call it good. Gonna do some vertical dripping down the side a little bit like that. So you can see the transparency lets some of the black and gray around it show through. Makes it look a little more organic, but there's enough of it where it looks creepy. And it shows up. Time for bed. All right, Rabbit. Thanks for tuning in.
All right, Rabbit. Thanks for coming. Some blood for the blood god.
Yes, it is like that because it's a glossy fluid red. So it is actually very similar to the actual Blood for the Blood God paint.
Wait, that's an actual paint?
Yeah, that's the mantra of one of the Chaos Gods in Warhammer. It's Blood for the Blood God. And they made it a product.
That's pretty great. That's really great, actually.
Yeah, it's designed to just be a quick, right out of the pot, actual like blood splatter. You can just like paint on a weapon or something.
Let me ask you a question.
What's up?
What is the likelihood that mixing blade steel and then what looks like a regular green will do something worth using?
Yeah, absolutely. Because the metal paint actually the way that it looks metallic is there's physical metal flakes in it. So add a touch of the regular paint, it's still going to have some of those metallic flakes in it. So like the more non-metallic paint you add, if you add a bunch, it's going to start to lose that shimmer, but you can definitely mix a little bit of regular paint with that.
Okay. Let's see what happens.
Ooh, there's a good drip down there. I like that one. Wow.
That is disgusting looking.
Yeah, this is the magic step. This is when it really looks gross. We turned it from a box of crayons into a creepy box of crayons.
We changed it from this into this, but scary.
Exactly.
You know, I think this did something.
All right.
I don't know why you told me not to try this. Oddly, adding one more color pulled it all together. You'll make metallic green. Alright. John Linus has a good video on mixing normal paints with metallics. That's good to know. I'm still such a novice when it comes to all of it that, like, just the idea of mixing is terrifying a lot of the time.
Yeah, I had to force myself to do it, and now, especially on individual miniatures, it just makes everything easier, honestly. Like, it's intimidating to learn, but then once you do, it's, like, so much easier to paint on the fly that way when you know how things can mix. And I'm still learning that. I mean, I'm still learning how different things... And different products, like, this red from this brand, you know, the way it mixes with something else is going to be different than another red from a different brand. So it's really just, like, getting used to the materials you have.
Yeah, I'm hoping that my asset drop box will help with that.
Ooh, that's right. That'd be cool.
Just like understanding. I should be getting my first one like around the end of this campaign, around the end of the Kickstarter. So I'm hoping that when that happens, I can just start like really trying to learn painting better.
I'm down for some paint parties.
I would love to do that, honestly.
I got a bunch of stuff that's unpainted, so.
It's way easier for me to paint when there's somebody else there, honestly.
Yeah, it motivates me to keep going, not stop.
Every single
Yeah.
paint is different. It's maddening. You want to come? Once
I
the
want to
Kickstarter's
come.
over, we genuinely might just do streams where we just have people like sitting around and painting random stuff.
I just want like a hobby corner because we're all, into the same stuff that you guys are doing with painting and gaming and stuff. Like, I just want to have a hobby hangout, like, stream once in a while.
Yeah, the problem is just that, we started this Twitch channel as we were approaching Kickstarter time.
Oh, yeah, it makes sense for sure during Kickstarter to do all the cool stuff we're doing. But, like, when there's downtime, I just want to hang.
Agreed. So I have a lot of stuff I need to paint. I have a lot of Hellscape I need to paint.
Oh, God, yeah. I have 2 Dread Hollow Forest sets and a bunch of Hellscape to paint still.
I think I might not have thought this through all the way.
I mean, so Knight's asking how long it would take to paint a whole Dread Hollow Forest for someone with only a little paint experience. It definitely, and Duke beat me to it, it definitely depends on how you want it to look. It goes back to what I was saying earlier about, like, you have to just set your expectations before you start. Being like, I want this to look good on the tabletop. It's not going to be award-winning, but I want it to have the colors of a forest. It's going to look like wood and leaves and all that. And manage your expectations because it's like painting an army. There's a lot of pieces. Even when you have one small, this is a good reference point. Like, this is a pretty small piece of terrain, but if you really look at it, it has the surface area of like 2 or 3 miniatures. So like when you're looking at it, you're like, oh, this won't take very long, but this is a lot to paint. So just set your expectations. I could say if you want it tabletop ready, you could do it in a weekend. If you sat and you spent a lot of time, you could get it done over the course of a weekend. But yeah, it all depends on like where you want to set the bar and how many little accents you want to add, because as soon as you add one step to the whole set, that's like many hours. So I have to kind of keep myself in control doing those kind of things too. So
yeah, because there's a lot of extra little details you can hit if you want to.
Yeah, like even the factory paint has quite a few different colors for the different leaves and stuff. So if you wanted to do everything in the factory paint night, I probably add an extra weekend. If you had like 2 or 3 weekends, you could probably get through it. And I'm just trying to give you a greater amount than I don't want to lowball you. So you might be able to do the factory in a weekend, but I'd expect at least 1 more weekend.
Or you could spend an hour a tree. To be fair, this is one of the more complicated trees. Like, if you were just doing a conifer, it probably wouldn't have taken nearly as long.
Yeah, oh, definitely. And we've been chatting and stuff. And that's the thing, too, is sort the pieces in such a way that you're like, these are the bread and butter pieces. I just got to slap color on them. And then there's the accent pieces like this where you might spend a little extra time. So I can afford to get a little fiddly with these few pieces, the accents, and then just cruise on like the floors and some of the escarpments and that kind of thing. My favorite scent, yeah, this glue. This glue is pungent. This Tamiya plastic glue.
I'm just struggling with the painted or unpainted buys. Here's the thing. I got all of my Hellscape unpainted.
Yeah.
Because I was like, I can get so much more. It got here right before the Kickstarter, and I haven't opened it. Mostly because I'm afraid to look at how much painting I need to do.
Yeah, all mine is in boxes. I got all mine unpainted too. And my Hellscape, I just looked at it and it said 30 pounds on the tag, and I was like, oh god.
Yeah.
I got 30 pounds of Dwarvenite to paint.
Yeah.
But see,
that's the main thing.
the War Maiden went Wildlands Untamed unpainted, and you know what? I would do the exact same thing again because I just want it to look a certain way. I gotta paint it.
It's fair.
I just have to.
This is also a thing. Is like you also know you can do it. Like you've got. This is not.
Well, and what's gonna up your efficiency too is take a few pieces, and don't make it part of your bulk assignment yet. Just do a bunch of pieces, have fun trying out the scheme, trying different things, different techniques, until you have it down in your head, and so you have a couple test pieces done, and then do the bulk painting after you've nailed it down a couple times. And do small batches. Do like no more than 5 or 6 pieces at a time, because it'll turn into a slog, and you want to get that little, up note of finishing something to keep you going.
If you can afford it, buy it painted. And that's ultimately the thing too. Is it's also. I mean, that's the thing. Like with Wildlands specifically, we tried to structure this in a way where it's the most flexible we've been in terms of being able to get the stuff that you want. So I guess that's only what it comes down to is like, what do you want the pieces for? Like it's especially if money is tight. Like, don't get stuff that you think you're not going to use.
Right. But there's a lot more like smaller standalone sets, like the scatter stuff and everything. So it's really easy to like tag on a few things without buying something really huge.
Yeah. As far as painted, unpainted, I guess it comes down to a question of, do you have more money or more time?
Right, exactly, yeah.
So no, I mean that's why I went unpainted.
Yeah.
Then the Kickstarter happened. It's like, maybe I actually don't have that much time.
Right. Well, that's what I think with all the miniatures I buy, but then I buy so many that it's like, all right, this will take a decade.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. Like I popped out those penguins in like 2 hours. Like
Yeah.
3 penguins in 2 hours. It's like I could actually do this stuff if I actually put the time into it.
Right.
But I think I let myself get overwhelmed, and then I just don't get any of it done.
I mean, yeah, I feel that way too. It just comes down to the batches. Like, if I've had to rush through like 30 terrain pieces at once just for efficiency. I was on a deadline, and like, that's not fun. That's not a fun experience.
I mean, yeah, it also is an entirely different thing when it's work as opposed to...
For sure, yeah. But even when I'm painting my armies, I've learned that I have to, like, 10-man squad, I'm going to paint them all. It's like, you know what? Do it 2 batches of 5. That's just for my brain. That's what I got to do.
Completely understandable. I'm sure there are people who could...
Oh, yeah, everyone's different. You got to... Well, yeah, so experiment and find out what works for you.
I know personally, it's easiest for me to like just watch a stream or something and paint while I'm watching the stream.
Yeah, doing something else. Podcast, stream, TV show. Or, like you said, another video call. Video call with someone. I've been doing that a lot in quarantine. Just chatting with someone about... We're both sitting there painting or whatever.
Fair. Done the same thing. So many unpainted... I hope I can do the swamp and the forest well. That's definitely going to be the hardest, well, the most time-consuming, I think. There's just a lot of details when it comes to all the underbrush and stuff there.
Yeah, it's not going to be super hard to execute, but it has the most colors, so when you have a lot of pieces, it's just going to create a lot of steps. But once you get the forest scheme down, the swamps are actually going to be pretty easy because it has a lot of the same colors, and you're just kind of mucking up some of the edges, and some of the accent colors are different too. But yeah, if you nail down forest, you can just you're really it'll be easy to start the swamp scheme. Yeah, Duke, I don't have anything that's partially painted, but I've had a whole Nighthaunt Warhammer army that's been assembled for at least 1.5 years and has gotten 0 paint. And I've always like, oh, that's ready to paint in my brain. And Nothing has touched it.
Okay, I think this actually gave me the effect that I initially wanted.
Nice.
So I did the green mixed with steel thing. I let that dry, and I'm just going back over it with just the regular steel. And now it does actually still look like metal, but there's like a green glint to it.
Yeah, nice.
There's and the creases in it are easier to see now. Because like some of the green sat in the crevices more.
Cool.
It does look like there's more to it than just. And I can probably slap like a green wash on it or something.
Definitely.
Huh. Huh.
Well, I think I'm about ready to wrap up here pretty quick. We got this Blackrot tree done. And I got to paint some more cool stuff to be revealed soon. So.
Very excited. I always go on painting. It would have been his this time around. Is there anyone back the new Reaper Kickstarter? Is that already over? I should back it if it isn't.
Oh, I had a Skaven army too, Duke, for a while.
I just want my BattleTech stuff to get here.
Yeah. I've never played that. That'd be cool to get into.
I've been playing the video game pretty obsessively, and I actually
really.
I actually really want to try the tabletop game now.
Nice.
That's why I was like, when we were talking about the war game, I was like, we should do initiative the way they do it in BattleTech.
Right.
I haven't played the tabletop game. I played the video game, and I assume that it functions the same way.
You know the strats.
Yeah. Will there be painting videos / instructions for most pieces in the Kickstarter? I do know, like, I'm sure we're gonna do a. I know we've talked about doing at least 2 painting videos, or Joy's Orbital painting videos.
Yeah, we definitely cover the broad schemes, and hopefully we can do some of these cool accent pieces too this time around, because there's a lot more cool paint stuff going on.
Yeah. Oh, well. I guess we should probably wrap it up.
Yeah, I'm glad the green metallic worked out though.
Yeah, I should probably actually.
Yeah, that's a Reaper gnome right there. Reaper miniature.
Yeah, I'm trying to get it good. So it's got like green glints to it. I don't think it's quite there yet, but it's interesting. Yeah, depending on how you look at it, it looks more green or more gray. Oh well.
Cool.
I'll show it to you in person probably. We'll see.
Yeah, we'll take a look.
All right.
All right. This has been fun, man. I actually haven't done one of these streams with you yet. It's mostly been with Mace.
I haven't. That's why. Well, we did one a long time ago when you were doing the Cerberus Warhound.
Yes, we did do that.
That was why I wanted to do the stream tonight, though. Was I
yeah.
just like talking to you.
Yeah, for sure. This was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Well, hey everybody, thanks for hanging out. There's gonna be obviously more. We're streaming every day, so be sure to stay tuned and come back and have a great night. Stay tuned for more Wildlands action. Oh, yeah, what's tomorrow?
Tomorrow's the build jam. That's what it is.
Ooh, that'll be fun.
I think that's in the afternoon too.
Okay.
It's like at 4. We're gonna have to go in early.
But who is that? Tyler and Toby?
Tyler and Toby.
Nice.
Although we might let other people join in as well.
For sure.
I think for that we're basically just gonna use it as an example, or I think the plan is basically just becoming like a build request stream, but also a competition.
Cool.
Where it's like, I want to see how these escarpments work together, and then they have like 5 minutes to like, or 10 minutes or something to like make the coolest build doing that thing as we can.
Awesome.
We'll see.
All right, so tune in for that, and thanks for watching. Take care, everybody.
Bye.